In 2021, year 2 of the COVID, out of great ambition, I made the transition from scrambling into mountaineering in the form of glacier travel and steep snow climbs. The combination of having to carry at times up to 70 pounds to travel with Kayla and my dad, refusal to take mountaineering courses, opting to use the internet instead, leading all the trips myself, and making ambitious plans while having minimal experience would lead to numerous trips in 2021 where we failed to meet our objective. I was in a battle with myself to prove what I was capable of, and this battle came to a conclusion in July of 2022, year 3 of the COVID, with a successful ascent of Granite Peak in the Wind River Range of Wyoming. Kayla, Dad, and I had made a 5-day failed attempt of Granite Peak from June 30th to July 4th that same year, getting turned around due to a lightning storm on ascent day. This had been our longest trip to date, with so many obstacles to overcome, but we stayed tough and came back for a successful attempt, standing atop Granite Peak just 22 days later. I was content knowing how far I would push myself to accomplish what I set my mind to, even if I didn't quite reach that goal. And it marked the ending of an emotional era for me. We had plans to do the Wind River High route just a couple days after climbing Granite, but I had gotten sick during our Granite trip, and we decided to pivot to a shorter trip instead, and made an unexpected climb of Granite Peak from July 30th to August 1st.
12:38 p.m. July 30th, 2022, year 3 of the COVID. Kayla, Dad, and I are at the upper Lady of the Lake trailhead, and we're gonna be trying to do Granite Peak, highest mountain in the Beartooth range, over the next 2 to 3 days. Well, we are about to head into the Absaroka Beartooth Wilderness area in the Gallatin National Forest. Looks like we have now made it to Lady of the Lake. Still going around Lady of the Lake. Kind of a stagnant creek. We are at the so-called Tri-Creek Junction. This meadow. The only issue is that there's a lot of water here. Hey, bear! It's a nice shot with the flowers in the river. Some of the larger Beartooths, and here is Lone Elk Lake. So it's good. We have made it into the lakes. Guess that island thing is why they call it Lone Elk. Kayla and Dad making their way around a trickier section of Lone Elk Lake. Going around Rough Lake. Of a full picture of Rough Lake. Coming up, Rough Lake behind her. Looks like we have the Lower Skytop Lake over there. Yeah, that's a really nice plateau over there. Wow, these Beartooth are nice. Not yet upper Skytop, but an interesting lake. Another lake thing. It isn't Skytop. Been going about 7 hours now. And I believe this is our first view of upper Skytop Lake. Alright, see the waterfall?
Yeah, that's cool.
So that mountain in there is Granite. I think this is the pass we have to go up tomorrow to get to Arrow Lakes, backside of the upper Skytop Lake. I just have to pick a spot to camp at. Hi Patrick. How's it going?
What are you doing?
Patrick is getting kind of close to the campsite.
Hey Patrick.
6:19 a.m. July 31st, 2022, year 3 of the COVID, and we're getting back at it. Getting hints of alpenglow now. Nice granite mountains. Following up this water. Nice view. Yeah. A little bit hazy, but it'll get better. Got an interesting water, snow, ice thing. Cool lake down there. We are technically on a glacier right now, and the Skytop Glacier is there. Okay, looks like we're going to be starting the climb soon. Yeah, use the steps. Yep. This looks fine. Took a long time to get above the snow tongue. Sun is out. That's a really nice looking mountain in there. We're at about 11.9, less than 1,000 vertical feet to go. That's some awesome pictures. Okay, I'm officially into the war now. I have more than 600 feet to go. Very good holds.
You have to reach far for a big hole, Caleb, but it's a good one.
The other side actually doesn't look too bad to descend on the rock.
Are you not putting tampons on today?
I wasn't planning on it. Kayla, come more to the right. We're very close to gaining the summit ridge. It's an amazing view. And about to gain the summit ridge. Oh, nice. We are starting the descent. Views are good. We have seen some cairns, so we must be going the right way so far. Okay, your left hand is in one of those handholds I told you about. Pretty nice lake below the glacier. Cool snow underwater thing. It is a surprisingly long slog. It is just before 3:30 p.m. and we have finally made it back to our campsite. Our goal now is to make it that pass. Making it up the snow patch. Yeah, that must be Upper Arrow Lake. Good views. That must be Upper and Lower Arrow Lake. Granite over there. About 7:30 p.m. This is the Upper Arrow Lake, and we are camping right here tonight. Tomorrow we have, God, I don't even know how long it is. It's probably at least 10 miles out. Oh, this is a really nice area. Past 6 a.m. August 1st, 2022. Year 3 of the COVID, and we're gonna start our hike out from Upper Arrow Lake. Trying to get around the upper Arrow Lake. This is the outlet of Upper Arrow Lake. What?
No, you go stand there with Troy. Like up there.
Almost 8 a.m., meaning that we've been going for 2 hours and still getting around Lower Arrow Lake. We think we're almost back at the trail. Views looking this way continue to improve. Back at Lady of the Lake, 12:32 p.m. August 1st, 2022, year 3 of the COVID. And we just did Granite Peak in 47 hours and 54 minutes.
Before leaving to the US to climb Granite and do the Wind River High Route, which ended up morphing into an ascent of Granite Peak, I was well aware of the beauty of the Wind River Range of Wyoming. We had already had an introduction to the range on our previous failed attempt of Granite Peak from that same year, and the ascent of Granite was highly anticipated even before that. The Wind River Range looks absolutely stunning in the photos and videos that you see online, and I was looking into climbing Granite for 3 or 4 years prior, just waiting to graduate from university. What I was not expecting during this expedition into the US was the beauty of the Beartooth Range. The views from the summit of Granite were all right, but the off-trail travel through the maze of beautiful lakes was stunning. The creek crossings, the waterfalls, the wildlife, the lack of people and trails was superb. I was puzzled why I hadn't heard more about this place, because being there I could feel the high plateaus off in the distance calling for me to walk atop them, and I knew that I had to get back there someday soon. After having come back from the US, having lost 8.5 pounds in 10 days, I opted to take a solid 4 days of rest before setting out on my next trip. At this point, it may have been a good idea to evaluate the success of our Granite trip, to understand how that might shape the trips that I planned moving forwards. But with such a short turnaround, I instead ended up looking back at my unfinished business from 2021, and Kayla and I decided to go on one of the harder trips I had planned: Bonnett Peak and the mountains surrounding the Bonnett Glacier. Midway through the summer of 2021, there was serious doubt about how something like Bonnett would ever be achievable. Kayla, though very physically competent, was no pack horse, which meant that I would have to carry the tent and the majority of the safety equipment. Part of the appeal of Bonnett was the route to get there. North of the Bonnett Glacier, there are 2 high passes, with the Trifid Glacier in between them. An approach or egress this way would be incredibly scenic, but it would also require us to haul our packs up very high, through a lot of off-trail terrain, and cross the Trifid with a lot of weight. After successfully climbing Mount Brazeau in 2021, but giving up before we could even attempt Warren, I think we realized what the scale of a Bonnett trip would be like, and we didn't think we would be able to do it that summer. But after pulling off our redemption ascent of Granite and a not exactly easy ascent of Granite, we felt like we could pull off the Bonnett trip, and we were willing to go for it.
Kayla and I are at the Skokie area again. going in to do a lot of
A lot of good
peaks.
stuff.
Already missing my fleece, so
And it sucks.
fuck my life. The air quality is amazingly good right now. Hopefully
Woo!
stays this way for the next 5 days. Really nice how clear it is. Here's readout.
There we go.
There we go. Freaking bullshit that they must have implemented this year. It's like, why put this giant fucking thing in the middle of the beautiful area? And now it's just this fucking design. Doing pretty good. We have 2 kilometers to Ptarmigan Lake, another 2 kilometers from there to Baker Lake, and then probably another 2 kilometers to our tarn camp. Lots of boulders now. Okay, now you can see Temple much better. There's Ptarmigan Lake. So we are now at Ptarmigan Lake. The move again, going around Ptarmigan Lake. Still on the way around Ptarmigan Lake. And I guess, I don't even know if I did the date today. It's August 6th, 2022. Year 3 of the COVID, year 1 of the monkeypox. And yeah, doing lots of mountains in the next 4 or 5 days. Taking a break. So got Lefroy and Victoria there. Oh, Baker Lake. That's a good look. Been 3 hours 24 minutes and we've gone 12 kilometers now. Just reaching Baker Lake. Good view of Lichness. Wildflower Creek is, I guess, on the right here. Let's hope that this sign hasn't fucked us up. Wildflower Creek Trail is starting off a little bit narrow and taking us through some forest, just getting into the valley. Meadows are very good, and we have the, I suppose, Wildflower Creek over there. Getting pretty close. We might want to start off trailing it. What? It is a waterfall. Ooh, that's a nice looking pool. We got out of the forest. Whew. Now we're gonna bushwhack around the vegetated side of the tarn and look for a flat spot to set up the tent. Yeah, so that one is Lichness, Kayla. I think Kayla and I are gonna camp just in here. Kayla is down at the tarn right now with our bags, so just let her know. Then we'll come up and we will be done our first day. Hooray! It's before 7 p.m. and Kayla and I have set up our camp. We just finished cooking the last of dinner. I made my saimin. Now I'm gonna eat that and then we'll get ready for bed, clean up all this shit, probably fill up some more waters and watch Pooh's Grand Adventure. And tomorrow we're climbing that mountain for starters, and then we have a big traverse across the glacier on its backside. So it'll be exciting. It's about 6:11 a.m. August 7th, 2022, year 2 of the COVID, year 1 of the monkeypox. We got some nice bright sky. Kayla with Alpenglow on ptarmigan and starting to get some on fossil. We're on the move, slowly making our way up. We're at about 7,700 feet. We have to get to about 99 till we can take off the heavy packs. Feels like we're making good progress. Okay, I think when we get to the far pass up there, we're allowed to drop the packs. Baker Lake has a crazy reflection right now. You can see Ptarmigan Lake now. Good view towards Lake Louise. Still making our way up. Views are very good. We have come into some more difficult terrain. Oh! Here is Douglas, St. Bride, Witness. Kayla and I just descended from here. Sucked pretty bad. And now we're technically on the glacier. We're not in any rings. Here comes Kayla. Taking a back break. Is okay. Pretty easy travel now. We're on rock. Glacier on St. Bride. Good water sources down there. The views are really spectacular. Snow coming from the Trifid. The snow is making the ascent very, very good. Nice feature here on the Trifid. Just dropped all the backpacking stuff, and we are now just about ready to start the ascent of Lichness. Views are good. At some of the steeper stuff now. It's just very loose. We're at just about 3,000 meters. Maybe a bit more. And the bridge is a bit narrow now. How you doing? Bit hungry. Okay. View from the summit of Lichness. Honestly, not bad. Scent of Lichness. You can see our bags down there. Okay, bags are just down there. So the descent was nice and fast. Okay, time to cross the Trifid now. Got a nice shade going. Trifid up there that's melted away looks really cool. Good views looking back. And good views looking ahead. One last push. Almost off the Trifid. I came from over there. Okay, we're gonna have to check. Wow! It's a good water quality lake pretty close, Kayla. Yeah, we'll probably stop there actually and camp. Wow, that's beautiful. Okay, after a sizable break, we are going to start the descent and we're gonna camp at that lake over there. Very close now, at least to being down. We are back on the rock. Looks like we're passing the one tarn here. Still very far to go. Okay, this is going to be our camp for night 2. It's very good because this lake has clean water and all the other lakes over there are actually lower down and they are fed by the glaciers, so they all have silty water, but this is from snowmelt in this bowl, I suppose, so we get good water.
Hell yeah.
4:31 a.m. August 8th, 2022. Year 3 of the COVID, year 1 of the monkeypox. Kayla and I are ready to leave to go over there and do Bonnett and South Bonnett and Hickson. Oh, crossing outlet stream sucks pretty bad. Basically around the lake, we're gonna head up along this rock ice interface. Progress is pretty fast. Been going about an hour. It's like 5:30. No, the sun isn't coming up anytime soon. Okay, getting onto the Bonnett Glacier now. Starting to get some alpenglow. Forecast is right. It does look like there's smoke, especially when you look this way. It's not great. You can see a lot of smoke. That really sucks. Some crevasses this way. Hickson really does look like a pretty intense challenge. Finally off the glacier. Hickson still looks pretty fucked. You can see all the way to the high pass where we were yesterday. The whole thing is extremely loose. Just about 8 a.m. We have about 400 feet to the summit. Yeah, you can see over the ridge now. back onto the ramp. Kayla and I are roped up again and just about get headed over to the pass there, which you can't really see. It's a pretty big one. Off the Bonnett Glacier, and we are now going to do South Bonnett, just up there, and Badger Pass, less than 300 meters to the summit. Kayla with pretty solid view. Oh, this thing is big. View of the glacier really opening up. Getting on the rope system once more to go try to tackle that thing. Back on the glacier, making our way towards Hickson. We are about to start gaining elevation a lot faster. Nice views of Bonnett Glacier in Kayla. Whoa, that's cool! There's the Trifid Glacier, which we were on yesterday, cataract and far back. St. Bride, Bonnett Glacier. Kayla with Sawback Range. We have the tough job of scrambling up this. Kayla's descending steep snow. Then we have to cross this ramp. It is a steep slope. Whoa!
Hey.
Good self-arrest. And here we go. Losing lots of elevation. More water. Nice large stream of water there. Well, we're at the waterfall. And looks like it's kind of braided, which is good. There's the cool big break in the ice. Pretty steep snow patch here. You can see the terrain eases out. Gained a lot of elevation. 5:54 p.m. Been going 13 hours 22 minutes. And we are just about to get back to the camp. Day 4, August 9th, 2022. Year 3 of the COVID, year 1 of the monkeypox. Kayla and I are packing up camp and we're getting the first hints of alpenglow. About 6:30 a.m. Really nice alpenglow. There's Kayla pushing on. Good view looking back. Got pretty high. On the final snow patch that will take us to the first high pass. 7:36. We made it to the first high pass. Now we have to make it all the way over there. There is Kayla. It is hot as fuck right now. Trifid, and you can see the Bonnett Glacier now too, and the Gwendolyn. 9:30 a.m. and we've made it to the high pass. Took off the rope, and now we're gonna be aiming near that lake. Here goes Kayla. Descent from that smaller tarn hasn't been ideal. Or crampons or snow pickets or the tent stuff. Here's that smaller tarn. And Kayla. Nice scenery. Well, here's the tarn that marks the end of the Hanging Valley. The forest, so close. So it appears that there is no trail, at least on the maps. Travel is fast. Took a quick snack break. It's about 1:15 or 1:20. And it looks like I found a trail. Whew. That far right glacier, we were on that earlier today. Deer Lakes campground. Oh, what a win. Very good meadows. We took a nice break at the Baker Lake campground. Lichness Mountain, the first one we climbed on this trip. Oh, you can see Ptarmigan Lake again. About 5:45 a.m. Kayla and I are leaving Ptarmigan Lake, head to the halfway hut to eat breakfast. At the halfway hut now. Kayla and I are gonna cook breakfast. Leaving the halfway hut now. We've got about 2 hours out. You can see the service road again.
At the time, it felt like there was something incredibly strange about this trip to the Bonnett Glacier. Because if you look at the events of 2021, it's pretty clear that this should have been an incredibly significant trip. After dreaming big at the start of 2021, my aspirations of climbing Bonnett with Kayla were essentially crushed later that year. But we kept progressing, and we accomplished the seemingly impossible. This success wasn't a big revelation like it should have been though, and quite honestly, I was not very hyped for the trip when we set out in early August. I would have been content to just not go for it. Part of this is probably because I was drained from Gannett and Granite, but there was something more at play here as well. I spent a lot of time reflecting during the summer of 2022, and I realized that my trips to the mountains act as expressions of myself and as ways I can learn lessons about life. And when you think of these trips as emotional journeys as opposed to physical ones, your bucket list of mountains that you want to climb really becomes a list of experiences that you want to have. When I had originally proposed Bonnett in 2021, I had ambition. I wanted to show myself what I was capable of, both mentally and physically. And I had been on trips like that before, but not to the extent that maybe I needed. So I made really ambitious plans. But after climbing Gannett, my ambition had been satisfied. That emotional journey had come to an end, and I was happy with what I was capable of. However, the success of Gannett kind of invalidated the need for me to do Bonnett in the first place. There wasn't going to be a large sense of accomplishment after the trip, even though we had thought it next to impossible the year prior. I knew that we would do everything possible to complete Bonnett before we went, and maybe that was more important than the actual act of doing it. And so, there really wasn't a large sense of accomplishment after finishing Bonnett. It was, at least to me, an objectively cool thing to do, but I don't really have a sense of pride associated with it, or at least not to the extent of some of my other trips. And I found that odd, because at the time, I didn't think it was unreasonable to say that we associate the meaningful parts of our identity with the things that we take great pride in. Over the 6 years leading up to Bonnett, the mountains had found their place in my identity. If I was not going to find much pride in that Bonnett trip, which was as difficult and epic as I could have asked for, then had I reached a point where the mountains would become less significant to me? I think that the answer is yes. In some ways, my trips will never be the same. Assuming that self-worth is something that doesn't need to be perpetually earned, there is a certain drive and motivation that I don't expect I will capture again. But I am not upset about this, because as much as Bonnett was hard work and suffering without the reward of that feeling of great accomplishment, Bonnett was also an undeniably great time. For those 5 days, there was no place that I would rather be, and so, maybe this tells me something about myself that is more fundamental than my self-image. Perhaps exploration, hard work, and maybe even danger evoke biological responses that bring me pleasure, much like eating food or drinking water or sleeping would. The enjoyment from going to the remote places of the world may be beyond an external explanation. It may just be what it means to be me. So while this Bonnett trip was not meaningful in the way that I was used to, it was helpful in the sense that it was the first of a new kind of adventure for me. An adventure with no tangible reward other than seeing the natural beauties that most others never will. And after contemplating this, I knew where I wanted to be headed. Increasing the technical difficulty of my trips was no longer going to provide me with an emotionally enriching experience. What I wanted was to cover vast distances through the remote wilderness, unsure exactly what I would be getting myself into, but knowing that it would be interesting and beautiful. What I was really looking for were high routes, and I could already think of the perfect place to plan one: the Beartooth Mountains. What is freedom? This seems like a straightforward question to answer. It is the ability to do what you want. But I don't know if it's really that simple. I once said that the mountains provide you with a meaningful sense of freedom, because you can go wherever you want, but your travel will be difficult, so you will have to make meaningful decisions about where you want to go and how you wish to get there. I stand by that sentiment, that the physical freedom the mountains provide acts as a canvas in which you can display your personality. But that's not what I'm interested in here. How can you be sure that what you do in the mountains is what you want? How can you be sure that your reasoning for doing what you want to do is not that you think it would sound cool, or that it's something that you would want to associate with your self-image? What does it mean to do things for the love of doing them, and not for living up to an image imposed by yourself or others, or society? What does it mean to be mentally free? Well, coming into 2023, this question was put to the test. With difficult work schedules in the summer of 2023, it looked like the Canada Day long weekend may be Kayla and my only chance for a big trip over the summer. But instead of trying a high route of sorts, we decided on trying to climb Mount Forbes. This was of concern to me. Kayla and I had made an attempt of Mount Forbes back in 2021, our year of ambition. Mount Forbes is the highest mountain entirely in Banff National Park. It towers 2,000 meters above the valley below, and stands 300 meters above the surrounding peaks. It's almost 50 kilometers from a higher mountain, and can be seen from many peaks in the Canadian Rockies. It's no wonder why I was interested in climbing Forbes back in 2021. But coming into 2023, I didn't need to prove what I was capable of anymore, and Mount Forbes is a brutal trip. Why was I interested in going back? Was this truly going to be something I enjoyed, or was I trying to do something that sounded cool and associate it with my identity? How could I be sure that I was mentally free?
It's 11:02 a.m. June 30th, 2023, year 4 of the COVID. Kayla and I are at the Glacier Lake trailhead. 8.9 kilometers to Glacier Lake. A lot of water here. More than 5 kilometers in, which means we're more than halfway to Glacier Lake. Oh, the Lyell Ice Fall. About 1 kilometer around the lake so far. It's not overly concerned with us.
Oh, hello!
Decent height above the lake here. That is where we came from. There is an extremely tasty rock here. Everyone seems to love it. Tastes good, fellas. Well, there was a fire here. I don't remember seeing this last time, so I don't know if this is a new development or something, but looks pretty shitty. Been going 4 hours now. Halfway time-wise, done the approach. Back end of Glacier Lake, and actually maybe we should think about getting water here, just because I've been drinking quite a bit. Well, this is where we're headed now. Nice views. This is Glacier Lake. On the move again. Next stop, the swamp. What in the flying fuck is this fucker?
What are you looking at?
I don't even know.
What? Let me see.
It's fucking crazy.
What?
It's like a bee, but like not. I just remembered that we should probably stick close together because there are tons of bears in this area, supposedly. Last time we actually saw a bear at the end of the valley. Here is Glacier River. At some point we're gonna have to cross this. Big river. There's a frog or a toad here.
Oh, let me see it.
It's trying to hide itself. Oh. Here's Kayla. This part is very familiar to me. We were further up, I think. Caterpillar on Kayla. Taking another back break. Gone about 17 kilometers. 5.5 hours or so. Found an egg. I mean, it's cracked open, but.
Oh.
Another back break. We've been going for 6 hours. Getting a good view up towards the Lyell ice fall. Another campsite. A lot of people had fires here. Well, the trail continues to impress with its near vanishing ability. In our weakest moment on the first day, we see it, Mount Forbes. Right, here is a better view of the monster, Mount Forbes itself. Very close to camp now. This kind of braided section here is where we theoretically have to cross. We're set up at camp. It's a nice camp spot. We're heading up that way to tomorrow. There's Rosita Mount Rosita in the background. Just cooking dinner, made some mashed potatoes, and we have this kind of mech packety thing, chicken Alfredo pasta. I'm planning on making some more pasta later. The sun is now behind the ice fall, and you can see the ice fall a lot better now. 6:13 a.m. July 1st, 2020, year 4 of the COVID. There has been a slight rain for the last hour and a bit, which kind of sucks. And we have to do a river crossing right at the start, so that sucks. It sucks. It is fucking cold though. Lots of fireweeds. Well, the uphill battle has begun. Lake of the Glacier River, pretty reflective. Light drizzle going, but the sun is out. Well, we just heard a big thunder and saw a lightning flash. We have 100 down in the tarp. Rain is not fantastic. The cloud has passed over us now, and we are on the move again. We have found the trail, so this should help us out a little bit. Trail's gone into the straight up really wet bushwhacking now. Well, I can't see exactly where you should step because all I see is bush. Lyell Icefall, looking very nice. There's Glacier Lake, looks pretty dope. And we get to go up there. Particularly dense section. Kayla's coming up this amazingly delightful bushwhack. but unfortunately we're gonna kind of get out of the bushwhack for a while. Kayla is going to access the rock.
I'm so excited.
I just accessed the rock. It is rock. Pretty nice canyon there. We found a path, so this should ease the ascent. Been going not quite 3 hours. Getting 300 meters from the valley bottom. Lyell ice field visible once again. All right, there is the head wall, and that's a treed slope we're gonna go up. We are once again into the bush. Holy shit. But this time it's dry bush. Nice view of Mount Forbes.
You can see it?
Yeah. This might actually be the toughest bushwhacking I've done. Here's Kayla. Alright, more of the North Forbes Glacier visible. Not gonna be an easy navigation, but should be possible. Picked up a bit of a trail, so that's nice. Going 5 hours now. Wow. Mons Peak and the Mons ice field. We will have to cross the toe of the Mons ice field probably. And then there's Mount Forbes. Okay, we found a lake. Bit of silt. Here's the Mons ice field with some mighty chunks of ice. Kayla's crossing the slab, no problems. Guess maybe I was just being a little bitch. We are at the toe of the Mons ice field at the surprisingly low elevation of about 6,700 feet. Looks like we actually have run into a bit of a crevasse section. Just gonna be going over it though, or I mean up above it. And just like that, we are about to be off of the Mons ice field. Making our way towards the Forbes drainage. We've just been going up more shit moraine. Wow. It's pretty incredible. The brown one? Yeah. Parents just asked how things were going. They asked if the glacier is safe. Well,
Yes.
it's completely dry, so
very, very safe.
it'll only be safe if we're really bad at walking where we think we're gonna walk.
Only unsafe.
After a long absence, you can see the Lyell ice field again. That's a view. So close, and yet still kind of a little bit far. Here's Kayla. We're getting pretty tired now. Been going 7 hours, 45 minutes. This is the camp spot. All right, we have our temporary cooking shelter set up, and we're having our late lunch, which will transition into probably an early dinner. 7:26 p.m. All right, we're going to bed soon. It's like 7:27 p.m. And it's expected to storm through the night. 2:46 a.m. Rain is supposed to be finishing at 3. It's been storming the whole night. 4:02 a.m. Kayla and I just crossed the outlet stream from the lake below the North Forbes Glacier. We're going to get going now. There are still clouds hanging about, but they've mostly cleared and it's not really raining anymore. There's still wind, so hopefully it's a good day. Not yet 5. There's Mons Peak. There's the Lyells. Kayla and I have just basically finished roping up and we're going to start on the glacier. Wow, simply beautiful. Steady progress. Kayla with Mons and Lyells. Haven't even got to the Alpenglow yet. Alright. Really nice Alpenglow on Forbes and Rosita. Mons and the Lyells. Hopefully this is navigatable. Oh boy. Icefall. Well, this looks nice, but we think we need to be over there, so. Oh. Yeah. Well, we have now descended a long ways and we're kind of past all these difficult Siraki bits. Alright, plan number 2 doesn't exactly seem to be a cakewalk. Alright, attempt 2 to make it past the icefall. This doesn't look too bad so far. We don't want to turn back too early. That looks like the Columbia ice field over there. I think we just have to connect up there. Honestly, feels good to have the rope. Looks like we could have came up that way though. There. Alright, we made it past the difficult icefall section now. And we have about 800 meters left to the top of that thing. Here is a very sizable crevasse, which we are walking around. Really hot with the sun. Kayla with impressive views to the north. It's not going to be easy, but at least we're making good time so far. All right, 7:12 a.m. Kayla and I are standing about 600 meters below the summit of Mount Forbes. We are right below its north face. The slope is steepening and elevation is being gained. Some crevasses here that we'll have to worry about a bit. Well, I almost fell into a crevasse getting over the stuff there. About 500 meters below the summit, probably a bit less. Views are excellent. The slope is really steep. Views west, pretty spectacular. We've been on a steep traverse. snow quality is really good right now. Almost onto the West Ridge now. Forgot to mention, we're at 11,000 feet. So 800-ish feet to go. It's really cold up here. Well, there's a fucking cloud here, which is pretty annoying. Butterfly knots keep getting caught on the rocks. Just like that. You can see Glacier Lake all the way down there. That's incredible. Wow.
Wow.
We actually did it.
We actually did it.
Didn't really get view of that at the summit too much.
On our way down.
Yes, we are on our way down. Michaela has a blister situation.
This is the first time.
The situation being that her blister has popped.
I've never had blisters from these boots before. What the shit?
It is finally heating up a bit. Maybe it's even warm enough for the GoPro to stay out. The clouds seem to be getting lower somehow. It's not very good. Oh, okay, I was working on that. Good job. Still on the easy-ish part to ascend. Easy bits are. Good job. This part actually looks pretty simple. We are about to enter onto the very steep north face of the mountain. Traversing across. We are at a very steep portion. Good job. You okay? Back. Whoa! Yeah. Well, we've almost met back up with our previous tracks over there. This one is sizable. Good job.
Hard. That thing.
There's Kayla with Forbes. And we've got Rosita. A bunch of. This is a sizable crevasse. Looks pretty deep too. Well, we're about to head into the ice fall-y bit. It's just over here, even though. Well, I guess this is it. The hard part. All right. This way. can also come this way and then go down here if you want. Just follow the, like over there and then there. Just follow the tracks. What the fuck did we do? Did we come across here? Oh no. Or whatever. With that, we have basically done it. It kind of looks level. I'm gonna take a picture of you here, heading down on the nice bare ice. It is just a very long, steady slope down. Starting to get a bit steeper. We're seeing more crevasses. Well, it really hasn't been too bad. This is a moulin, I guess. All right. Did all the de-roping and shit. It's been 10 hours since we crossed the initial creek and started moving, and shouldn't be too long till we get back. Well, all this stuff used to be underneath the glacier, maybe not these rocks on top. All right, Kayla and I have packed up our camp and we're gonna try to head to the camp near the some lakes near the bottom of the Mons ice field. All right, probably just need to go down there a bit. Somehow we just keep getting lower, even though we suspect to be cliffed out. Seems not very stable. Nope, we're fine. There's Kayla. Well, it is 7:22 p.m. and we are about to head into the tent. Early morning before 6 a.m. July 3rd, 2023, year before the COVID, and Kayla and I are about to get going just as we're gonna start getting some alpenglow here. Mons. Well, there's the sun and our way out. You can see the way out all the way, I think where that river is, beyond the bump. It's a long way to go. Here's Forbes. What a shot. Back to the moraine crest, an hour and a half since our start, which was exactly on schedule. It does get a bit narrow at sections, but actually pretty good. All right, the Lyell ice field is back in business now. Just went through this bush. The terrain is steepening, so we should be coming up a trail. Made it back to the trail. The lake below the Lyell icefall is nice and calm, has some reflection. Kayla on a good trail. And we're gonna get back on trail. We just had a lunch. Oh, this has 3% battery left. Yeah, we're at the Glacier Lake campground and very tired. 5:12 p.m. and we have made it to the red chairs, which means we are 2 kilometers away. Good, how are you?
How was it out there?
It was good. Well, we're back now. What are your thoughts on the mountain?
Man, like the actual route, very, very, very cool. I still can't believe we did it. I know that you were saying when you got to the top, you're like, okay. But for me, I was like, oh my god, I can't believe we did it.
Standing steps below the summit of Mount Forbes, I couldn't help but think that the mountain didn't look as impressive or difficult from that angle. It looked really close. All we had to do was walk a bit further, and it would be time to head down soon. There was no overwhelming feeling of disbelief that we had made it, no feeling of accomplishment that we had climbed something harder than anything we had climbed before. And that's not anything strange. I knew after my Granite and Bonnett trips that I wouldn't feel any accomplishment from climbing Forbes. The final push to the summit was just another few minutes during the trip. There wasn't anything particularly special about it. And as strange as it sounds, this trip was about the journey, not the destination. On paper, the destination is kick-ass. The highest mountain entirely in Banff National Park, nearly 50 kilometers from the closest higher summit, rising more than 2,000 meters above the valley below, and resting a good 300 meters above the highest surrounding peak. Mount Forbes can be seen from many other mountains, and its shark-tooth shape is a truly magnificent sight to behold. Towering above the surrounding peaks far into the backcountry also means that the view from Mount Forbes is on another level of awesome. The destination certainly has a strong allure, which is in part responsible for our interest in the mountain to begin with. On the other hand, the journey, though epic, is also brutal. 9 kilometers on a boring trail through forest, another 3.5 trudging along a lake on unmaintained trail, 7 or so trying to stay on a trail as you go through sometimes dense bush and swamp, a large river crossing, a nasty bushwhack, loose side hilling, and more nasty bushwhacking just to get into the good stuff. From there is navigation through the labyrinth of moraine and bedrock, traversal around a proglacial lake to avoid a deep creek crossing, more navigation through moraine and old glacier bed, a heavily seracked glacier, a sea of hidden crevasses, 40-ish degree hard snow and ice, snow-covered loose shale, and finally, the corniced ridge to the summit. Climbing Mount Forbes means that there is always another obstacle ahead of you that you must overcome, and somewhere in that bombardment of obstacles we were faced with laid the final steps to the summit, one of the most spectacular summits in the Canadian Rockies. But that didn't mean anything to me. At the onset of our attempt of Mount Forbes, I would expect most of the route to be typically classified as Type 2 fun. Activity which is not actually fun while it's happening, but it's fun to look back on when it's over. To me, Type 2 fun can often walk a line of appeasing your self-identity, doing something that you think sounds cool, with the primary benefit of doing it being to construct a specific image of yourself, which gives you confidence, or pride, or something along those lines. Going out to Forbes, I was not entirely sure if I was going back because it sounded cool, or if I was going back because I legitimately thought I would enjoy it. Was I mentally free? Well, climbing Forbes gave me that answer. I stood steps below the summit and treated it like any other steps of the trip. The view was perhaps better than most of the trip, but aside from that, there was nothing significant about those final steps to the summit. Disassociating the glory of the trip from the actual point we went to is proof enough to me that I was there for the experience, for the journey. And though that journey did have sections which would be classified as not fun or Type 2 fun, for the most part, the journey was fantastic. There was a variety of terrain, some of which dissimilar to what I was used to, and there was almost always something to appreciate about the places that we found ourselves in. I was simply out there trying to soak up and enjoy every moment I had in a sublime corner of the world, and that is what really drove me to go back to Forbes. This was ultimately an intimate exploration of a region of a mountain range. On paper, we had our destination in mind, and that was the purpose of the trip. But that was not what gave the trip meaning. It was all the small moments of wonder and amazement, and perhaps unknowingly understanding that I was free. After ensuring that I was mentally free and I was able to look beyond the destination of the trips I planned and appreciate them as a whole, what remained was to follow this idea to its logical conclusion. To remove the destination of the trip altogether. It was time to plan a high route. I had first heard of the concept of a high route back in 2020 while watching a YouTube video on the Wind River High Route, a lengthy trip traversing the Wind River Range from south to north, traveling over high passes far away from trails, and viewing unbelievable scenery. I had originally planned on doing the Wind River High Route in 2022, after our ascent of Granite. But since I was sick, we went for a shorter trip, climbing Granite Peak in the Beartooth Mountains instead. The Beartooths were absolutely gorgeous, and I wondered if there was a Beartooth High Route. After further investigation, it seemed that there were only really two well-established high routes in the US, and none in Canada. The Wind River High Route and the Sierra High Route. But I couldn't understand why there weren't more. The Beartooths were riddled with high plateaus, a plethora of lakes, and seemingly minimal vegetation. It seemed like the perfect place for a high route, so I got looking at Google Earth and some topographic maps, and I got to planning a Beartooth high route for myself. After much investigation, I had a route that I thought would work, and would allow me to really see what it means to travel in the Beartooths. In the summer of 2024, scheduling would permit us to try out my plan. So in early August, we drove down to the Beartooth Lake campground, camped the night, and prepared for our journey the next morning. The plan for the first day was to start near Island Lake, gain the high plateau to the northwest of the Beartooth Pass via a break near Sheepherder Lake, take the plateau until we were in line with Spirit Mountain, and drop down to Jasper Lake to camp.
8:04 a.m. August 3rd, 2024, year 5 of the COVID, and we're parked just off the Beartooth Highway, close to Long Lake, about to start the 10-day Beartooth High Route. We headed off in this direction. 8:10, and we're officially off. Gonna be headed up onto that high plateau off in the distance. We've been starting off on a nice trail, and as we would expect, lots of water. Okay, so the goal for today is to head up over here, gain the plateau to the left, and follow it along over to Spirit Mountain. And we're gonna drop down to Jasper Lake just before we get to Spirit Mountain. So it should be about 800 meters elevation gain and roughly 16 kilometers, so 10 miles.
Taking our first break after 30 minutes. It's beautiful. Back on the trail after our first 5-minute break.
More water in the Beartooths. All rocks now.
We are at the Chief Herder Lake, getting ready to go up in between the gap there.
We're at Sheep Herder Lake. It's been about an hour, and we're gonna be going up this slope. No wind, lots of rainbow trout, pretty hot. Now, heading up, off trail. Came from back over there. Start to see into the Absorka Mountains.
Sheep Herder Lake in the background, where we just had our last break.
Looks like we may be getting away from the trees. Gonna be leaving behind views of Sheep Herder. We're at the campsite I proposed for the first night, when we were originally only supposed to do like a half day, but instead we decided to make today a full day, and then tomorrow will be a shorter day. After a long break, we're off again, trying to get onto the plateau. Highway off in that direction. And off in that direction as well. Just did a big elevation gain push. Now it looks like it is not as steep.
Well, we made it to the top of the plateau. You got expansive views, except it's a little smoky.
Well, we finally got some views. It's the plateau. I believe over there is Spirit Mountain. So I think we're gonna be going to the divot just under it and then heading down. So all this ridge in front of us is what we get to do today. Just getting some more views. Lots of lakes on this side of the ridge.
Lots of lakes.
I said nice lakes all through here.
Yeah.
Taking our second break of the day.
Walking.
This is about our 8th break of the day. Lots of nice, but they're very short. Lots of nice lakes. They're far away.
Plateau is really nice. Still seems like we've got 5 or 6 kilometers on the ridge, so it's gonna be a while. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Part of this trip is trying to be able to not focus so much on time. feel like with a lot of my trips, I just get very focused on making sure that we're staying on track, making it to places when we should be, and it's just really mentally exhausting. And I know that we'll make it to camp before sundown, so like I don't need to worry about that stuff too much. Just take our time, take lots of breaks, and enjoy the scenery here. View of Spirit Mountain is getting better and better. First snow patch of the trip. Far lake down there is Beartooth Lake. That's where we were camping this morning. Nice campground. They got a picnic area too for day use and a boat launch. I think they have some trails which start in that area also. 1:27 p.m. and we're getting a glimpse of what is to come in the Beartooth Mountains. Apparently there's a big lake down here. Pretty cool stuff. Lots of nice lakes.
We're just over by the peak up there. Not quite at that peak, but right maybe 50 meters below it.
Dad's way down there. Kayla and I had to stop for a back break.
Going, Kayla. Taking a rest before we do the last part of the plateau.
After our very long break, we are on the move again. I almost fell asleep a couple times. Goats are over there. Baby goats are playing. On the way up now. It's a lot more gradual than I thought it would be so far, which is good. Is that the best spot?
Yep.
Big goat fur here. Pretty cool.
Making our way up to the top of the plateau.
Starting to see beyond the plateau now. Tall one. Spirit Mountain over there. And we're now looking for a way off the plateau. Okay, so that down there should be Jasper Lake. That's where we're headed.
We're gonna be camping at that lake down there. Still making our way down. Lots of lakes. There we go.
So we could get some rain. Got a nice waterfall. Moving on from the waterfall now. Soaked my head in it. But it is time to continue on into this amazing mountain range. Waterfall is actually a double waterfall, and we're gonna be continuing on. So why didn't you and Kayla want to go down the snow? Well, Jasper Lake, right there. Well, it really feels like we are in the Beartooths now. So, it's been a longer descent than I imagined, but that's okay. No rush. Scenery in this going down section of the trip has been the best so far, in my opinion. I think there's less smoke, things are a bit closer, and yeah, we've just seen a lot of cool stuff. Okay, we got another lake there. So, 2 lakes to choose from. Well, this is Golden Lake, just beside Jasper Lake, and we've decided that we're basically going to camp here. Jasper Lake is just off in the distance there. There are Dad and Kayla, some other people, there's some more people up there. So lots of people here right now. But it is just day 1 of the trip. Day 2 should take us where I wouldn't expect to see anybody. The mountain goat is here, and the battle with the wildlife and keeping our food safe is very real. Eating dinner, starting with soup and then moving on to potatoes. Well, day 1 of the Beartooth High Route is over. Not exactly how I expected it to be. I think everyone's back was hurting a bit more than they would have liked it to. Lots of weight, and yeah, so things were very slow going on the ridge. Views were decent, but quite a bit of smoke. But then coming down, things started getting trickier, and I think that was actually the most fun part of the trip so far. I guess it's only been 1 day. But yeah, the smoke started to clear up. We saw some nice waterfalls, nice glacial lake by the looks of it, and yeah, really remind me why I'm here, because now we are definitely in the heart of the Beartooths. I mean, this is what the Beartooth should look like, and I want to see more of this, and it's all clear why we are out here right now, and I'm excited for tomorrow. We are camped just down there in that orange tent, in between Golden Lake and Jasper Lake, which we're going around tomorrow, and we're gonna go up there and make our way past these big plateaus into the northern side of the range. Sunset is happening, no longer blocked by clouds, very bright. These fuckers.
After the first day, it was clear that our fitness was not up to the standard that it needed to be. This is partly due to the fact that Dad was only able to get out for one training trip to do Mount Smutwood in preparation. On top of this, the terrain was more difficult than we had anticipated. Large granite boulders are sprawled throughout the range, and can even make up large parts of these high plateaus. The weak Canadian Rockies limestone that we are used to typically breaks into smaller scree, leading to an underestimate on my part on the amount of energy we would need to exert to navigate the terrain. Still, we were now in the Beartooths, and I was excited for what was to follow. We had already traveled on a high plateau, and the next leg of our journey would take us through the maze of lakes and rocky hills on the Beartooth Plateau.
7:15 a.m. August 4th, 2024, year 5 of the COVID. And had a really bad sleep last night. We tried to go to bed early, but I didn't go to sleep for hours. It wasn't until we woke up in the middle of the night and there was a bunch of mountain goats here. I pulled off a bit, and then I was able to get to sleep. But it doesn't look that smoky today.
It's our first morning of backcountry camping. Beautiful morning. It's must be about 8 a.m. now. Today's a very casual day. Yesterday was a long day. Today's going to be a more relaxed day, so we didn't have to get an early start.
Okay, moving on from our first camp, starting day 2. A couple minutes after the start, we get to cross the Jasper Lake outlet.
Little water crossing. Well, there's rocks. We're just crossing the mouth of the lake that feeds into the other lake. And then going around this lake.
First back break at the other side of Jasper Lake now. We were up on that thing yesterday.
Okay, Jasper Lake. Leaving it behind. Beautiful lake.
Travel's been easy so far today. Lots of wildflowers. And that is the next lake.
What lake?
I don't know if this one has a name.
No name.
Dad is hot. Already has his shirt off. Haven't even been going an hour yet.
At this beautiful lake.
Lots of granite. Okay, so I think that's Tristle Lake down there. Looks like there is another pond before we get to Tristle Lake.
Tristle Lake. Well, it's probably the pond before Tristle Lake. Tristle Lake's in the background. Tristle Lake.
Taking a break at Tristle Lake. Then we're gonna start going up to the pass, which is somewhere in here.
Taking a break at Tristle Lake.
Didn't end up swimming, but we're on the way around Tristle Lake now.
Making our way around Tristle Lake.
Dad and Kayla. That's the direction we came from. We're gonna be head off up here. Start to see Two-Bit Lake in there. Okay, this is where things might start to get a bit complicated. It's kind of just a maze of rock, and I'm gonna have to use my Google Earth screenshots to help navigate. Making good progress in my opinion. Seems like we've got 150 vertical meters to the pass. Views are opening up a lot. See into the Absorpa Mountains now.
Still making our way to the ridge. We're at about 10.5 elevation. Looking back, we were way over there somewhere, the other side of those plateaus or cliff bands.
Pumping some water to drink. We've got about 100 vertical meters to High Pass Lake, where you can get more water, and presumably where the pass is. Boulder Field has been surprisingly stable. It's noon now. Been going almost 3 hours. Feels like we're getting closer to seeing something. Maybe just over there.
We made it to the pass, or almost to the pass.
Getting close to High Pass Lake. Should just be in that dip up there. High Pass Lake is just over there. Gonna take a break at it. It's noon 30, and this is High Pass Lake.
Made it to High Pass Lake, 10,800 feet elevation.
High Pass Lake. Weather has started to get worse, and we are a bit concerned about the possibility of rain, so we're gonna try to get down from this pass and get to camp pretty fast. That mountain there is Sky Pilot Mountain, I believe. Looks pretty nice, and we're gonna be heading more to the right. Okay, off again on the descent now.
Heading down from the pass.
That's the direction we're going to be going in tomorrow.
Lake down there, Sky Pilot Lake.
Ed and Kayla coming from the High Pass. We're going to Sky Pilot Lake. Crossing the snow patch. When you get close to the rocks, just probably step where I stepped.
Big boulder field here.
Boulder field is extremely annoying. Hopefully we'll be at some smaller boulders soon. Large boulders are super annoying. This is the kind of stuff that it can be hard to tell from Google Earth how big they are. When they're this big, it makes the navigation really difficult. It's gotten a bit better. Okay, so it started to rain harder, and then thunderstorms started, and we were hunkering in the boulder field under the tarp for 20 minutes or so, and now we're finally getting out of it onto this nice snow patch, which we're just gonna take down the grass. Dad's about to get on the snow. Glacier over there. And glacier over there. That one's probably Sky Pilot Glacier. Beautiful scenery. We got Sky Pilot Lake, which is not too bad. Leaving the lake. Sun's up now. Very beautiful after the rain. Day 2 camp. Windy. It's thunderstorming now, and it's 6 p.m. How am I getting wet from here? It's interesting. Might have to fix that.
The large boulders we encountered on our way down to Sky Pilot Lake on the second day concerned Dad. So we made the decision to alter our planned route. As I had looked at maps of the Beartooths for countless hours leading up to the trip, I was able to devise a new plan that could keep us primarily on trails for the rest of the trip. However, since we were currently in the middle of nowhere, far away from any trail, my plan still required us to deal with large boulders for the next 2 days to avoid tens of kilometers of extra distance and potentially difficult bushwhacking. After a long stormy night, I was excited the next morning to start on the region of the Beartooths characterized by deep valleys and high peaks.
5:42 a.m., August 6, 2024, year 5 of the COVID. Weather is calm now, not many clouds, wind is not too bad. And we're going to try to start pretty early this morning because it's one of the longer days. We decided that there will be some modifications to the route, and it'll make this one of the longer days. So we have 2 hard days now in a row, and then things should start getting easier. There's a nice sunrise and some beginning of some alpenglow as well. It's only going to get better. Just finishing up breakfast, and we're gonna pack up. Alpenglow is slowly getting better. Sun is up.
August 5th morning, start of our 3rd day. It'll be a big day.
Oh, yeah, we used all my water.
It was a stormy night.
Yeah, I'm just gonna drink.
Windy, thunder.
7 a.m. and time to get going again. Big day today. We're gonna descend into this valley, side hill along this mountain, then go up Mount Lockhart over it to Sundance Pass, or we'll descend into next valley that to the left and go up into a hanging valley with a bunch of lakes. A really interesting flat wall. Scenery is really good. Goat on the ridge. Good views. Pretty sure that's lake you're supposed to camp at yesterday.
Heading down to a water source.
Finished up the descent. One complicated section. Lots of moss in the water there. Close to being down. Spent a lot of time pumping water, but now we are ready to get going. Scenery is just so beautiful. Got to get a shot of that. Somewhat complicated crossing. Super nice scenery. Taking a break, gonna be starting the climb and the side hilling soon. This river feeds into the rock lakes further down in the valley. Seems pretty easy to gain elevation here, so I think we're gonna go for it. Lake's down there now. I've opted for a less bouldery route with a bit extra elevation gain. Ed and Kayla, Sky Pilot in the background. We came from over by that pass yesterday.
Taking a little break as we make our way up.
Nice lake in there. Okay, we're gonna lose some elevation for a bit and we're gonna contour around this slope. Big boulders, but they're not as bad as yesterday, probably because the angle is more mellow. Aim this kind of pass thing, and then we're gonna be descending a little bit. Those are probably the rock lakes.
Just taking a break.
Lots of crazy scenery. I'm trying.
Yes, it's not super easy.
Yeah.
Come a fair distance. Big rocks were too concerning, so we're going to descend into the valley, push back to the trail. Water source on the descent. Have to be a bit careful about cliffs going down.
Heading down. Lots of wildflowers.
Can't seem to get away from these giant ass boulders. On the descent into the valley, we're about 400 meters as the crow flies to Second Rock Lake. Must be just over there. Trying to figure out how to get down. Could go on these boulders. There's Dad and Kayla. Very close to the valley floor. Very close to Second Rock Lake. Some more unexpected large granite slabs. 1:08 p.m. Been going 6 hours, and that is Second Rock Lake. Dad and Kayla. Second Rock Lake. We can see where we need to go. Well, at least where we need to be eventually.
Second Rock Lake.
Planning on walking in the Second Rock Lake. Hopefully my new toenail survives. It's a bit muddy.
Doing the water.
Dad and Kayla starting off in the lake. Cold on the feet. Kayla's feet probably won't even make it.
They're finally starting to feel better. Yeah. Everything's starting to feel better.
Told Dad and Kayla that the water was cold and that they should stay out of it as long as possible. And then they went right in, and now they're deeply regretting it. Also, there's a big thing of quartz right there. So that's interesting.
Oh yeah.
That's really cool.
And then it'll be cold down here again.
Nice. Nice job, Dad.
It's just one big step. Not even a jump.
Yeah.
Don't tell that to the people on the challenge.
Dad, why didn't you try to broad jump it? Dad in the cold, muddy part. Making our way around the lake. This time on the lake shore. We've come a fair ways around the lake, but still looks like it's not going to be easy travel. Still making our way along Second Rock Lake. Feels like there's definitely a trail here. It's just very old. Looks like we're just about around Second Rock Lake. Hopefully First Rock Lake will not be too rocky. Travel has been not as bad as I would have expected. Getting to First Rock Lake has been pretty easy, following the trails and whatnot. In the home stretch on the way to First Rock Lake. Long trail. This is First Rock Lake. You have to figure out how to get around it.
Okay, at the first Rock Lake number 1.
Making our way around the First Rock Lake, and we've decided to go around the right side of the lake. because it looks easier than dealing with all those boulders. Unfortunately, it will mean there's a river crossing at the end, but I mean, we're just walking in the lake right now just because we think it'll be easier, so I don't think a river crossing will deter us too much. At the second inlet. Well, we're like, yeah, where there's rocks. Taking a break to de-mud the shoes. Yeah, we hit a pretty bad patch there, but seems to be better here. And we still are going pretty fast. So,
Yeah.
and this water is not cold.
Yeah, the water's nice actually.
I think it gets pretty muddy close to that tree. We're still in the lake. I think that it might not last too much longer though.
And it's nice that the rocks aren't slippery.
Yeah. We are still been going in the water and on the rocks. It's been going pretty successful.
So much better than the bushwhack.
Yeah. Hopefully we can just continue. We're still basically just staying in the lake, and we're getting up to the home stretch.
This is what our day three camp at Rock Lake number 1. Very peaceful. We're having, this is our best dinner by far, not even close. We had the REI package with pasta noodles, then we had Koi's fancy soup, and now we're having potatoes, and we might have hot chocolate later.
We decided that we're gonna camp at the first rock lake. There was a nice spot here. Oh, I just ate a bunch of food. We have to do that crossing tomorrow morning, and then we'll head out and do Sundance Pass, which is probably over there somewhere.
After encountering more large boulders on our third day, we made the decision to take the extra distance and bushwhacking, and to try to get to the trail at the end of the valley. This led to one of the most fun and unexpected parts of the trip, walking through the first and second rock lakes. Even though we weren't on the path I had wanted, we were still undeniably in the Beartooths, and the following day we would be headed up to Sundance Pass, one of the areas of the range I was most excited for.
6:16 a.m. August 6, 2024. Untitled the COVID. We're making breakfast at First Rock Lake and also packing up first hints of alpenglow.
Day 4, morning. Having our breakfast, and then get going.
Alpenglow behind First Rock Lake. Early in the morning of day 4. 7:40 a.m. and we are doing the river crossing.
Okay, start of the 4th day, water crossing.
The unofficial trail between First Rock Lake and Kaiser Brown Lake sucks. And then the rock in the middle. I'm glad we just camped last night.
What?
I'm glad we just camped last night.
Yeah, this would have been tricky doing when you're tired.
Finally made it to Kaiser Brown Lake. Got some really nice camping spots.
at the first rock lake. It is 8:50 in the morning. We have beautiful lakes here.
Kaiser Brown Lake. We're back at the official trail, which feels really good. We're gonna be going over Sundance Pass today. It's a nice lake.
Kaiser Brown Lake. Last lake before we get to the main regular trail.
Got to the trail fork.
Lake Fork, West Fork. Is that where we're going?
Yeah, we're going West Fork. Going up to September Morn Lake. So far, just a nice mellow trail. Okay, we actually do get a view. There's Kaiser Brown Lake, where we were this morning. You can see First Rock Lake now. That's where we were camping this morning.
You guys.
You can see Second Rock Lake now.
September Morn Lake. On our way to Sundance Pass.
Nice looking lake. Sundance Pass is probably over there. Moving on from September Morn Lake. Headed towards Sundance Pass. Lots of paintbrush.
Nice valley.
There's Sundance Pass. The trails in the US are so nice. They just make everything nice, easy grade. Then if it looks like it's gonna be steep, they use switchbacks. Nice views.
The wildflowers.
Roughly 200 meters to the top now.
Kayla doing her back stretch. Oh, we just did a few really steep switchbacks, but we're getting closer to the pass.
So close to the pass.
Well, we've made it to Sundance Pass. Wow, beautiful up here. That's for sure. Making it to the pass.
Pretty windy.
Down this pass, we were gonna climb a mountain to the right, Silver Run, but the storm is coming in, so we have to get down.
Now on the descent of Sundance Pass, it's basically gonna be a bunch of switchbacks. A few raindrops have landed. We are still very far away from where we would like to set up a tent. Descended 100 meters or so. Some sun in the valley. It stopped raining. Still windy though, and there's still a lot of clouds, so we're gonna try to still get down pretty fast. Gonna be heading down this valley, possibly a bit today, and for sure tomorrow. Rain is still not too bad. Got some really big boulders here.
It's pretty good. It's just a very thin rain or slight rain. So that's good, but it's crazy the last 2 nights, the thunderstorms we've had. So 2 days ago we had a thunderstorm in the afternoon, crazy, like a rain thing, and then crazy rain, wind, thunderstorm at night. And then last night we had a crazy thunderstorm, but without the wind.
Beautiful lake down there. Probably horrible for drinking. This cliff face is really beautiful. It's just too bad that we're a bit concerned about weather to enjoy it.
It's cool, eh?
Just heard a reasonably loud thunder, but we are finally at the trees. It won't be too much longer until we're down. Looks like I'm getting into the vegetation. Maybe I'll finally be away from the rocks, but who knows? There's rocks everywhere. So we got to the bottom of the valley. We set up the tarp, and yeah, now the weather looks pretty good. There's still a thunderstorm over there, but I don't think that's blowing our way. Dad should be getting here pretty soon.
Almost all the way down to the bottom of the valley. Koi did the tarp, taking a break. We're at the valley now.
3:19, weather still looks good, so we're gonna head out to Queensbow Meadows. It's hopefully just a couple hours away. We're back at it. Hopefully it'll be slightly more casual this time.
On to hopefully our camp, where we're gonna sleep tonight.
It is. The thunderstorms are potentially back. Still raining a bit, but it's sunny out, so that's good. Wider section of the river. Looks pretty nice. Probably within 1 kilometer of our camping spot. Here's Kayla. I am beat today. Waterfall up there. This looks a lot like the meadows to me. Tent over there. Nice meadows to be camping in.
Day 4 camp. There's the tent, and there's the shelter. What's it called?
Tarp.
The tarp. And we just got the stove going.
Making soup.
Yeah.
So, end of day 4 now. Day 2 was interesting. We got some bad weather, went over some large boulders, and kind of realized that Dad might not be the best shape for the off-trail sections, so I redesigned the plan to have more on-trail, basically, so most of the thing would be on-trail. Then day 3, tried to stick to the high route plan just because it saves on distance to get to the trail. Ran into some dicey terrain as well, and we just ended up going down into the valley and doing a bunch of bushwhacking. And yeah, day 4 we finally got on the trail, and looks like most of the rest of the trip should just be on trail, and it should make things a lot easier, and I think it's still going to be a really great trip.
Day 5. Breakfast, 6:45. There's the giant boulder. Day 5 starting. About 22 kilometers today.
7:41 a.m. August 7th, 2024, year 5 of the COVID.
I didn't even realize there's that big waterfall.
Yeah, there is.
Can you see
It's
big
the start of
Caleb?
day 5. Got about 21 kilometers today. We will hit a trailhead, so that's exciting. Maybe they'll have an outhouse.
You want to go on the log?
The morning dew makes everything look pretty nice.
Had a nice waterfall. And you got the mountain up there too.
Taking a break. There actually was a few ripe raspberries, so I might try to eat some more. Gonna have some water.
Our first big break of the day. Or 5 minutes or 10 minutes maybe.
Made it to the trail. We're in the clouds. We could also stay at Sylvan Lake. Back to like civilization, kind of. Leaving the road. Got about 6 miles to camp, and potential rain at 3 p.m. Gaining elevation pretty fast. Still foggy.
I don't want to be too far in this sort of stuff without.
It's rained pretty hard a couple times. Still got maybe 200 meters to the pass. Or I don't really think it's a pass, but Then we move to the high point. Then we start going down. Hopefully there's no more rain. And also hopefully this cloud goes away at some point, but really doubt that. Presumably there's supposed to be like a view or something here, but we can't see anything.
There's Coin Kayla. We're almost at the high point of the pass. It's been crazy foggy. Well, now it's foggy. It was rainy earlier, but it's been really foggy for the last hour or so.
Close to the top of wherever it is that we are. Gonna hopefully camp at a lake over there.
Rainy, river crossing.
On the 5th day of the trip, we walked into a cloud, and we slept inside the cloud that night. It rained infrequently, and by the end of the day, we were all soaked. For a brief moment, we had access to service that day, and the weather forecast was not looking good for the days to come. None of us were interested in hiking in the rain, but we were now days away from the car. We ended up getting Mom to pick us up and drive us back to the car, terminating our trip.
5:46 a.m. August 8, 2024, year 5 of the COVID. It was a super damp evening last night, and super damp night too, and everything is still damp. We're just waking up early to hopefully get to the trail because I think we're still in the cloud right now.
Day 6 morning. Rained all day yesterday. Troy has his weapon in the back there, the pole sticking out. Day 6. We're at the high point. A little foggy, but it's not raining.
Made it out to East Rosebud. Very wet this morning. Lots of huckleberries and raspberries and a few thimbleberries on the trail. So got a bit of food that way, which was very nice.
We are staying, day 6, staying at the East Rosebud Trailhead Campground. And we're just hanging out. It's about 3:30 in the afternoon. Mom's driving down from Calgary because she wanted to join us, and she'll be here tomorrow. At the East Rosebud Campground. Just hanging out. It's almost 5 p.m. We've just been cruising and eating lots of food and enjoying the day. Day 7, 6:20 in the morning. East Rosebud Campground. The sky is clear. Looks like it's going to be a pretty good day. Tomorrow is bad, 90% chance of rain and like 5 millimeters or something. Day 7 breakfast at East Rosebud Campground. We have a picnic table.
It's August 9th, 2025, or 2024, year 5 of the COVID. And we're cutting our trip short due to bad weather tomorrow. Something like 7 millimeters of rain with 80% pop. So it's not going to be good. Also, there's a washout of the bridge on the beaten path trail. So, yeah, I guess enough things piled up that we are actually having to call it now. But Dad and I are gonna take a quick walk to Elk Lake this morning. Hopefully find some berries along the way.
The lake at East Rosebud, heading to Elk Lake. starting to rain. Hopefully not too much. Really nice valley going to Elk Lake. Big granite mountains. Wow.
Elk Lake on the beaten path trail. This is where we were supposed to camp yesterday, but we didn't because we're ending the... Is this even a lake? Is it further?
Well, we made it to Elk Lake. Beautiful setting. There's Coy cruising at Elk Lake. Heading back from Elk Lake. So nice here. Wonder if she got gas. We are almost back. Getting close. Just waiting for Mom. I've walked down the road probably 3 or 4 kilometers. She's coming from Bozeman to pick us up from East Rosebud Campground. So I thought I'd walk out and meet her, but I'm just taking a break. Camping at Island Lake Campground. What is it, August 9th or 10th?
9th.
August 9th. Mom drove all the way down. She's getting into it. She's got her mosquito hat on.
Lots of mosquitoes.
The Beartooth High route was not what I had first envisioned. We first thought of deviating from my plan on the second day of the trip, and completely abandoned the idea of off-trail travel on the third day. There were large boulders that made everything more complicated than I was expecting, and the weather was simply uncooperative. I would like to go back and do what I had originally planned. The scenery in those first couple of days was otherworldly, so far beyond expectation and imagination. But in a sense, this trip was exactly what I was expecting it to be. There is no single destination on a high route, no section of the trip that is supposed to stand out from the rest of it. And with no emphasis on any specific part of the trip, every part of the trip is open to further appreciation. High routes are more about living in an area and taking time to enjoy what is around you, than traveling through an area to get to the place that you are meant to admire. Because of this, High routes are constructed so that deviations from the plan don't take away from what you get out of the experience. Going off course for us led to one of the more enjoyable sections of the trip, as we made our way around the first and second rock lakes, wading through the water close to the shore. Happiness can often be found by achieving a long-time goal, climbing a large mountain that has been on your mind for a while. I want to move away, and I think I have been moving away from trying to find happiness in achieving goals, because I believe that finding happiness through achieving goals is inherently unsustainable. Each time you reach your goal, the next goal you set for yourself becomes more difficult as you try to push your boundaries, and eventually you will set a goal that you can't achieve. Finding satisfaction in a high route requires that the enjoyment of the experience stems from every moment of the trip. It is what I believe to be a more sustainable way of being happy. This idea of finding enjoyment through the process of activities and not the outcome of said activities is advice that I have heard time and time again. But I don't think that I have seen this philosophy represented as well as it is in a high route. Over the past couple of years, I've spent a lot of time looking at maps, dreaming and planning potential high routes to try out in the future. Unfortunately, there are not many places that would actually make for a good high route. In most mountain ranges, the cliffs are often too jagged, and moving through low valleys leads to tedious bushwhacking. On top of this, high routes require large weather windows, and taking lots of time off. There is a lot that needs to fall in place to do a high route. I am eager to try more of them in the future, but I understand that I may not be trying another one for a while. The mountains have always helped me to learn more about myself, and about life. I may not be able to go on many high routes in the immediate future, but I will take the high route philosophy and apply it to whatever is next in store for me. My relationship with the mountains has evolved a lot since I started scrambling back in 2016. From the outside looking in, it may seem like my trips are progressively getting more difficult, as a result of trying to push the limits of what I'm capable of. But emotionally, this has not been the case for years. Over the last couple of years, I have come to understand that I love the process of climbing mountains and traveling in the backcountry. I have verified that the types of trips that I plan are not a result of constructing or maintaining my self-image. And for the first time, I have planned a trip with the primary motivation being the emotional experience I wanted to get out of it. It has been a long journey to reach the relationship that I now have with the mountains, but it is a journey that I appreciate much like I would the journey of any individual trip that I plan. And though I may no longer find pride in these individual trips, I can say that I am proud of how my relationship with the mountains has changed, and how that carries over into my life. I can now say with more conviction that we do associate the meaningful parts of our identity with the things that we take great pride in. The mountains are still a meaningful part of my identity because I am proud that I enjoy the simple processes involved with living in the mountains for a time. I am proud that I am mentally free, and I am proud that I am able to grow from these experiences.
Let me go, there's no doubt. Gotta get out of this small town. You took my heart from me, now you're everywhere I see. Set me free, let me fly. Let me find new kinds of highs. We're just wasting here, waiting for another year. We both know the score. We've been here once before. So many words unspoken. You took my heart, it's already broken. You don't have to wait, I can take the pain. I will surrender, let me go on a new adventure. Watch me build another life, find another space, explore the world and find my place. Hope you find some peace of mind. Hope the night was worth your time. Threw my heart away, we won't see another day. We both know the score, we've been here once before. So many words unspoken, you took my heart, it's already broken. You don't have to wait, I can take the pain. I will surrender, let me go. It's a new adventure. On the new adventure. You'll find me dancing on my own, nowhere to be, nowhere to go. In the rhythm, I don't think of you. Don't call me up when you're feeling blue. You'll find me dancing on my own, nowhere to be, nowhere to go. In the rhythm, I don't think of you. Let me go. It's a new adventure. On the new adventure.